Hey TS, how's it going?
Hey, it's great. How are you?
Good, good, good. You ready for another MemeCast on the Internet is Awesome YouTube channel?
I'm ready to go. I'm caffeinated.
Perfect.
Took a poop.
Thanks for sharing. Great. Well, I guess we can just jump right into it. I'm going to rant for a minute or two. So it was Easter this past week.
Yep.
So that means nothing in the world of a quarantine lifestyle, but it does mean a lot of family time. So there was um, lots of ridiculous talks with family, and as is I think the case in many families, like there's always some crazy uncle or some wild grandfather or something like that that talks about conspiracy theories. So that was definitely the theme of Easter this past week. So I don't know if you've heard, but Bill Gates has been kind of the subject of a lot of right-wing conspiracy nonsense. And I think this stems from a couple of years ago, but it's become more and more profound over the last couple of weeks, especially as he's been pushing vaccines for the COVID-19 virus. So this is just kind of laying the foundation here, where some assistant professor at a university is talking that he's being kind of labeled as an abstract boogeyman because he's well known, right? He's a public figure, and he's a public figure that talks a lot about health related issues. So
Mhm.
he himself has now become kind of a meme for a lot of conspiracy nonsense. Before I go into the other memes, I'm also talking with friends that are in the States. I don't know if you've heard of this, but there are protests happening in different places across the United States
Yeah.
where the protesters are even blocking hospitals because they're saying that the COVID-19 pandemic is fake. So they're blocking access to hospitals. They're going out in groups. There's a famous one where they're going out in a group as zombies, right? So to protest social distancing and all these sorts of things. And Bill Gates is kind of um, he's the butt end of this conspiracy joke, if you will. So that's kind of the foreshadowing of the couple of memes to come. But the first meme is, I think it was actually really funny. This man couldn't even make Windows safe from viruses, and you want to trust a vaccine from him. So this is, of course, from the conspiracy side, but I still think it's a
Yeah.
funny meme. The next one I think is also similar. So it's kind of taken from the 1984 theme,
Oh
right?
yeah.
There's a "We love you, Big Brother." Bill Gates has saved us. We will obey, right? And Bill Gates is on this massive projector, and everybody's looking at him, listening to his announcement of your next vaccine. Use this vaccine, etc. So this is kind of in the meme sphere. It's uh, a lot more, how do I say, used than it was just a couple of weeks ago. Oh, this is really small, but I'll read it out. Bill Gates has a secret eugenics plan to depopulate the world through vaccines because all evil villains announce their murderous plans in TED Talk presentations.
Oh my
so
God.
so this is actually where the whole conspiracy started. So I was actually sent this by my crazy family member. It's a TED Talk that he gave in 2017, I think, where he talks about um, alternative energies. So there was hardly any discussion about vaccines or global depopulation, but he just makes one comment about the population trend and how it's going up to some 9 billion people in, I think, 2035, something like that. And he makes one comment about just reducing not the total population, but reducing that growth, right? So it's just about having um, less children per person across the world, not about killing people off. But this
Yeah.
is the nonsense that the conspiracy people think. They're like, oh, he's definitely talking about depopulating, and the means of doing that is through vaccines. So that's kind of the inception of this nonsense. And I thought that this meme did a really good job of pointing to the ridiculous nature of this.
I have heard a lot of Bill Gates stuff the last week, but not so much in memes, just in the news and like on social media, I guess. But
Mm-hmm,
it's
mm-hmm.
not even just right wing people that are targeting him. It's also like kind of the I don't know, not going to say anti-vaxxers, but maybe more like the regressive left side as well. So he just seems like he's this easy target, I guess. People love to hate rich people, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. And now we just have this like super intelligent, nerdy guy who's actually trying to make a difference with his money in the world, unlike 99% of all the other rich people. And people are now just going after him. But I don't pretend to know everything either. Maybe he's not the best guy in the world, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure
leave that to me.
any billionaire, I'm sure, has their fair share of misdeeds.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not arguing one way or the other. I'm just kind of showcasing the ridiculousness of the conspiracy theories
Yeah.
through some funny memes that have come up. So not taking one side or the other. So anyways, that's my rant. Let's get into some more funny memes.
I think the next one's mine.
Yeah.
So this is people panicking because there's no food or essentials, and then people who grew up poor first time. So I don't know if you saw this movie. It's like on Netflix, I think. But yeah,
Nope.
it's anyways, they escape this situation here, but I think he escapes, but the other guy gets it.
What's the movie called? I haven't heard of
I
it.
forget what it's called. It's called The Ballad of Something.
Okay.
And it's like a Western movie. It's also like a musical.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Next one. Oh yeah, was this mine too? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this comic before coronavirus. It was kind of just like a wholesome meme, like this nice little thing about how someone's sharing their love, and then coronavirus. So I thought it was a good mutation of this into a meme. Take a nice comic and just add one little subtext to it.
Yeah.
Ready.
Yeah. I think this is also I was talking to other family members this week, of course, and talking about like how relationships are going to change or how the dating scene is going to change after all this is done. I mean, there is no dating scene now, but like once these lockdowns are loosened, like how the dating scene will change. There's yeah, I think it'll be quite interesting to see, and I'm sure there'll be tons of memes for us to talk about that when it comes.
And like, yeah, for me, like, because I'm married and I have a kid and we're all stuck in this house together, it's like I'm kind of content with my space. But I just imagine, like, well, you, for example, and like many other single people, in the prime years of their life, how it must feel just to be stuck, on this waiting period, can't do anything with other people. So
yeah. So I was having that same discussion with that other family member. I mean, there's two sides to it, right? So it sucks, obviously, but there's two different perspectives that you can have. You can kind of complain and be like, "Oh, this sucks. I can't hang out with friends. I can't go on dates and all this." Or you can just be like, "Okay, this is a 2, maybe 3 month period where I can either complain or I can really focus on something and move forward in a number of different things that that have been kind of piling up on a to-do list." So I've taken that approach. Thankfully, I have some friends that are kind of like, woe is me and depressing and eating chocolate and just binging Netflix all day, which is fine. I'm not judging, but this is definitely not the type of path that I want to take. So I think the quarantine can be seen as kind of a positive opportunity, as long as you still have your job and you can buy food and all that sort of stuff. So but the dating scene sucks, but let's not talk about that.
You have to go on some virtual dates or something.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't really know if I want to waste my time with that either. All right. Speaking of, go ahead.
I guess this is because Easter was last Sunday, right? So we kind of missed those on our last week's MemeCast. But so after that, I found some really good Easter memes. So this is Jesus on a booty call. So Jesus, come to see me. I can't because I'm crucified. I'm alone at home.
It looks like some naked guy as well, right? Carry the cross across the street.
It's like, imagine where this picture came from. It was probably some crazy high guy broke into a church and
This is so ridiculous. Great. All right, so another religious one. So churches are not essential, but abortion clinics are essential. Got it. Correct. One is a needed medical procedure and the other is a book club. And then the last comment is where nobody actually read the book.
That's the best part.
Yeah. It's I mean it's funny, maybe not necessarily a meme, but certainly hits the hits the nail on the head.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Oh no, we have a religious theme now.
Yeah.
So here we got Jesus died for our sins, except he didn't actually stay dead. So what did he sacrifice his weekend? Yeah, I'm starting to laugh. Just picture so funny. Jesus gave up his weekend for your sins. Anyways,
So
yeah,
this is
like,
this is ridiculous. It's funny, but as somebody who's watched a lot of debates between religious people and atheists, this is actually a really strong point the very first time that you hear it. And the point is simply that, you know, he died and he rose to heaven after 3 days, and he's he's seated at the right hand of the Father, right? So this meme is actually really true if you believe the whole fable of the Bible. And I think it, for somebody who's never heard something like that, it can be really quite shocking to hear that you know, Jesus didn't actually give something up. So we don't need to go into it. It's too easy for me to ramble on about this. But yeah, I think it's really interesting for people who might not have been introduced to criticisms of religion.
okay, next. Oh, it's still religious.
Yeah, still, yeah. Easter was big last week. So, do you know what this picture is? The guy on the thing on the horse?
No, I don't know what that is.
So that is the flying spaghetti monster. And I think the followers are the Pastafarians. So this is, of course, a made-up religion, and the deity is the flying spaghetti monster who, you know, fills in a lot of the attributes of any kind of deity. You know, created the universe, saves you from your sins or forgives you for your sins, etc. And of course, slays demons and devils and etc. So in this one, the painting, I think, or the picture is based off of a painting of like Saint John or one of these saints, where they're riding a horse and slaying. I think it's usually the devil. However, in this instance, is the flying spaghetti monster skewering the coronavirus. So, yeah, I thought it was just great.
No, it's good. I like the artwork too. It's well done.
Yeah, very well done. But yeah, we don't need to go into it. We've talked enough about religion. So, as we're all going remote, right? Kids have been locked in their houses for a week. This is actually from another meme. So this is not just homeschooling during the coronavirus. This is from something else. So I'll read it. I love my horror family. Sunshine, stars. Homeschooling gone terribly wrong. Yeah, I don't think it needs much explanation, but certainly people. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe she saw her dad's browser history.
I don't want to say. But I think it does touch on the fact that, like, yourself or other people that have kids are probably going to go crazy with the amount of homeschooling or the amount of attention that their kids need. Mm-hmm. I certainly hear from a lot of my other friends who have kids just the constant complaints of, like, let our kids out. You know, they need to go out. They're going to have psychological issues and all this. But I think it's just because they're exhausted with their kids around 24/7.
Yeah. Luckily, mine is not in school yet. So
right.
Is this one yours?
I can't remember, but I'll say it anyways. So just checking in to see if America is great yet. You guys need anything? Affordable healthcare, snacks, a new president. Yeah, maybe we should have some more Trump memes, because it's like almost every day during this pandemic, something crazy happens in the States.
I know. I kind of avoid them sometimes just because I'm trumped out, but
fair enough.
Maybe we should get back to some, because I'm sure there's some good ones. But, and it's not just Trump. Like I heard in the UK too, like they cut healthcare in the recent history, and then put billions of dollars toward like a nuclear deterrent or something, and then all of a sudden this happens.
Yeah.
And then the prime minister gets sick and everything, and then he's like, "Oh, thank God for the healthcare system.
Yeah.
They saved my life."
Yeah, it's very ironic. Well, maybe we'll have some Trump memes next week. Yeah. So I think this was posted by one of my bosses, actually. I mean, I have one boss, but many partners in the firm that I work in. So digital transformation is years away. I don't see our company having to change anytime soon. And then, of course, there's a wrecking ball that is COVID-19, forcing all companies across the world to drastically increase their digital use and ICT tools. I think this is maybe not so much funny, but very realistic, or gives a good representation of what's happened over the last month or two.
Yeah. Luckily, my company, they kind of did a digital refresher like a year ago. So
good. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I can see the same thing with other companies. Like they're all just jumping on Zoom or whatever for the first time. And it's like, well, that's not really digital transformation. That's just you guys making ends meet. But
yeah, or catching up with the recent times.
Get with the picture.
Yeah.
Anyways, we all know now. Anyways, time traveler. I'll read this one. Why are you inside me so I don't get COVID-19? Time traveler. 19 keeps you immune to COVID-20, or as I like to call it, the zombie outbreak.
What? That's great.
I like this one. It's like zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, and that's like one of my favorite genres. Yeah, this is great.
You want to get COVID-19.
But this also brings up an interesting point. Like when it was first, when the outbreak was first starting here in Spain, especially amongst like my friends were all, young, in good health, we do a lot of sports and stuff. A lot of our thinking was, well, we should just go out and go to these like larger events and stuff to get it, so that we can kind of go back to normal lifestyle once the quarantine is finished, because it's not really going to affect us. Which I think, looking back on it, it would be not such a smart idea now that we know that there's like permanent lung damage and other things like this, not to mention possibly passing it on to some older people that are at risk of actually dying. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with this. I just wanted to share an interesting thought.
No, yeah, makes sense. And well, like even still, people still say in the middle of the pandemic, like we don't really understand the full consequences, or and I don't know, for me, I guess I'm more of a cautious person, but I just don't want to get it, period. So,
yeah
like they say if 30 to 70% of the population are going to get it, well, still I prefer to be the 30 to 70% that doesn't get it. So. But yeah, so that that's where all those arguments, like let's send the schools back in, and let's get back to work. And the protests in the US now, they're not just the fake ones, but I saw protests this week about people protesting to open the economy back up, which is a fair protest, I guess, but still it's like not really doing it in the best way.
Yeah, well, I think like on either sides of any argument, there's always good points to be had, no matter how ridiculous. Like there are some relevant points to consider for opening the economy back up, as well as, of course, keeping it under lockdown. But I guess in America, everything's just always a dualism.
Depends what country you're into. Like in Canada, we have lots of financial support from the government. So for better or worse down the line, we'll see how that plays out. But like just printing more money and all that. But But in the US, I'm sure a lot of people, I know they're getting supplements too, but other countries are not, like Mexico, for example. So like you tell people to stay home, how are they going to feed their family? So
yeah. No, that's
anyways,
a relevant and deeper discussion. That's it. That's the last meme. So yeah, I don't know if you want to say anything else, or we should just end it here.
What was your favorite one?
I really like this one, actually. Yeah. For the zombie outbreak, for the win.
Okay. Yeah, I like this one too. It's a good one to end on.
Great.
So sorry we ended on a bummer, everyone.
It happens.
Stay away from the rants. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. No. I like my. Oh, why don't we ask this? For those people that are listening, do you like the rants? Do you like ending on a bummer? give us some feedback. In the comments would be good. Always check out the Instagram channel. What other plugs do we have?
Just that we've got some ideas in the pipeline to get this channel more engaged with our audience. So come back next week and see what we got for you.
Yep. Yeah, and send us any memes that you want us to put in.
Yeah, for sure.
Right
Okay.
on.
I'll see you next week. See everyone else too.
See ya.